Hello, it is I, Russ, and that is Lauren, and this is the Infectious Groove Music Channel and Vinyl Sundays. Now, we do 4 videos every single week on the channel. The one you're watching now is, of course, our Vinyl Sunday video. Tuesdays and Thursdays, we have our just general music discussion videos, which is pretty much anything we can think to talk about or you tell us to talk about.
Yep.
Saturdays, we have our reaction videos from all across all different genres and artists and whatnot. So if this is the first time you've been on the channel, if this is what brought you to the channel, if you would please hit the like and the subscribe button, maybe share out this video. If you are a regular viewer of the channel and you went, who is Roy Wood? Lauren will tell you a little bit about that while we go through this, because I was like you at one point. I was like, no, wait, who now? Who is Roy Wood? Yeah. With Roy Wood is, and again, I'm going to pass this off to you to talk a little bit more, but he, to me, the best way I can describe this to somebody who's coming into him completely blind is, in many ways, he strikes me as the Syd Barrett of the Electric Light Orchestra world.
That makes sense. Yeah. And then he broke off to that. And I think, here stateside, Roy Wood does not get anywhere near the, fanfare that he gets.
I consider
elsewhere.
myself pretty learned on music, and I've never heard of the guy until you told me about him.
Cool. I mean, and it's okay. That's okay. And, he, so yes, he was in Electric Light Orchestra, then they split off, and then he started Wizzard, and at the same time he was putting out solo work. So, the guy just never stopped. And I think that's pretty awesome.
Well, and indicative of that is in the title of this album that we're talking about, which is One Man Band. So the quick story behind this is we were in a record store that was somewhat near our house recently that we didn't know existed.
Right.
I forget where we were coming from, but I thought I'll just look in Google Maps and see if there's any record stores on the way home. And there was.
Sure.
So we went in and we found a couple of things at this place that we liked. And one of which was a sealed copy of this record. Now, we were confused out of the gate because I want to say the copyright on this says it's from 81.
Yeah. I was so confused. Well,
to start with, you were just like, I didn't even know he put out a record in the early 80s, right?
Right.
And then we got home and played it, and we were like, how did he do this in the early 80s?
Yeah, it didn't. I was like, this, for the type of artist that Roy Wood is, there's always evolution. Right.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a video on this channel actually where we blind bought Roy Wood's first album, Boulders.
Yep. That. And then you did another video about, not to just pimp our other content, but if you like Roy Wood, we have a couple other videos about him. You did one about like 5 songs to start with, like all 5 of them are wildly different.
Wildly different.
So anyway, so this record, One Man Band.
We started and I'm like, this sounds like Boulders.
Like the thing that should be following up Boulders.
But I'm like, there's no way nearly a decade has passed.
And then you became quickly frustrated because you looked around the internet.
I couldn't find anything.
If you ever watch the channel and you see our shirts, this is a shirt brand called Roosevelt's. We are deeply embedded in the Roosevelt's community, and we have a music page on YouTube, on Facebook rather, just for Roosevelt's people. And you had posted something about this in the page and was like, hey, this is a great record, but I don't know anything about it. And a person who is in with the brand over in Europe was like, oh, I know all about that, and told you what it was. So this came out right after Boulders initially.
This is the follow-up.
Did he say the title?
Yes, it was originally called Mustard.
Okay, it was originally called Mustard. Totally different cover than
totally different.
Yeah. And so many things made more sense to us.
I'm like, I was like, oh, I get it. So I still don't know why One Man Band exists, why it was repackaged and repurposed this way, but I'm glad to have it.
Yeah, well, and so that's the thing. So the long-winded way of kicking off our review here of it is the copy we found was sealed.
Sealed.
And part of me was like, who didn't open this record? But then now knowing more, I'm thinking like, somebody in the US was probably like, oh, this isn't even this. I already own. Like if somebody here was seeking out this record, they probably wanted more Roy Wood, thought that's what it was, and then was like, oh wait, no, this is just Mustard repackaged. I mean, I'm throwing together a tall tale based on nothing. But,
who knows?
But who knows? We came across a sealed copy of it. As far as packaging goes, again, this is another thing that makes more sense now. Because looking at it, I was like, that is just red with like a picture of him. And, there's like some nice thank yous. I always put pictures up. There's like some nice thank yous and a little bit of detail about Roy on the back. And the track, it was like so plain for what little I know of Roy. Right. And then I always complain about no rice paper inner sleeves on the channel. It was sealed with a rice paper inner sleeve in it. like I was like, huh?
Huh?
Yeah, how about that?
It's so wild.
And one thing too, that's if you're a longtime vinyl collector, notoriously in the late 70s and early 80s, especially compilations or things thrown together like this would get put on the thinnest vinyl ever available, all the way up to including stuff like Dynaflex, which wasn't even real vinyl. But this is like I at a guess, I would say it's probably 120. And, you know, back then everything would have been virgin vinyl. They didn't recycle everything like they did now. So all the way across the board, I'm fine with it. I will just say that the packaging makes more sense now.
Yeah. So
Like if you look up the cover for Mustard, you're like, oh, that's what
the outside of this should look like,
Right.
not this.
Yeah. As far as sound goes, I don't want to say this in a derogatory way, but this sounds like 1975.
Sure. It does. It absolutely does.
Yeah, it does. It sounds, I could put this on, like, there's a reason why as soon as we dropped the needle, you were like, this was not recorded in the early 80s. You know what I mean? Because it sounds like the mid 70s. I want to stop myself short of doing a full album review. You share more thoughts of yours because you know Roy better than I do. This album to me, and again, I mean this in a good way, sounds like these are things I was listening to at this time. Like it was directly, it's like the last track on the record sounds like he had just heard Mississippi Queen recently and was probably listening to Houses of the Holy a lot by Led Zeppelin. And then was like, I'm going to do a song that is in the vein of Mississippi Queen, as if I mean, there's a drum solo in the middle of the song. And I don't mean any of that in a bad way. Like that's, I like all of it. I personally, I don't have a problem when artists sound like other artists. I like my artists to be influenced by other people. But overall, what do you think of the record from what we heard?
I mean, it's exactly what I would want a mid 70s Roy Wood record to be.
Yeah.
You know, because we were, you know, we put it on, we listened to it a couple of times. One time we were cooking, and I very vividly, you know, remember breading chicken, and one of the more like doo-woppy songs come on, and I said to you, this is the Roy Wood that I really like.
Yeah,
you know, because I would say, you know, this is one of those things that, you know, nobody's going to know it, but this is great. Like if you've got people over mingling kind of background stuff, because it's familiar enough.
Like for me, like I said, if you had put this on before I knew who, I would have been like, I need to know more about this. Like more so than ELO. Like, you know, like I don't love ELO and I don't hate ELO. They're just there. I like what I've heard of Roy more than I like what I've heard of ELO. You know, price. Now this is a weird one because this is an old record and you know, we don't know anything about the price of Mustard, like an original copy of Mustard or anything, because this is what we know is this. We paid, I think, $11 or $12 for
Something
this.
like
Like
that.
it was real cheap.
Yeah.
And I looked on Discogs afterwards, and it looks like the going is about $20 or whatever. I would spend $20 on this all day long. So we get more into the value aspect of it there, but I think there's easily $20 of value in this record.
Yeah.
I don't know which, again, Mustard might even be easier to track down, or I don't know, you know.
I don't know, but I think you inadvertently just came up with a new catchphrase for this channel. I don't know anything about the price of mustard.
yeah. Infectious Groove Music. We don't know anything about the price of mustard. But I don't know anything about that. Like, so whichever, like, let me say this. If you can pay around $20 for these songs, whether, no matter what the cover art is or what it's titled under, I would absolutely pick it up.
Yeah.
These are great fun songs. And I didn't look, and I'm putting you on the spot on accident. Is this on streaming?
I don't know.
Okay. If it's on streaming, if I was in a record store and this was $20, I would pick it up without bothering to like, let's put it this way. We don't even know if it's on streaming because we just had it in our hands. And as our friend Dayton says, physical media is always better. So we just bought that instead of, and I have done that before in record stores. I've had a record in my hands and been like, and looked it up on streaming and been like, never mind, you know, and I didn't bother to do that with this. So I would say that to you as well. If you just like Roy Wood and you've never heard this and you see it around, I would pick it up for sure. So that is our thoughts on this Roy Wood record, which is sometimes known as Mustard, sometimes known as One Man Band.
It was a fun mystery, though.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
I had a good time.
That's one thing it's rare nowadays. Both you and I, with all of our tastes, end up being like, oh no, that's this, that, and the other thing. And it was fun for both of us to be like, what are you?
Yeah.
So anyways, if this is your first time on the channel, if you would please drop a like on the video because that helps us out. I mentioned earlier in the video what our schedule is every single week. But if you would please share this video out either on your own social medias or into music groups or whatever, because that helps us grow a lot. drop a comment on the video because we love to have interactions with everybody. Let us know what you think of our new catchphrase.
I don't know anything about the price of mustard.
Right. And as we always say, thank you so much for watching.